Hello everybody, it's great to be back. Again, thank you for all the feedback. I've heard from a couple friends, by the way, who have children who were like me, or I've actually heard from a couple friends who have the issue of stuttering, and that issue being they hide it from other people or they hid it. So hopefully these videos can encourage parents or maybe some friends if they have this issue to seek out some help that I did, because there are some great speech pathologists out there who can help. Again, I met with one, the last video. I left off the story with my first encounter with a speech therapist, and it was really funny because my first experience with her was an email exchange, and then we had a phone conversation, and we spoke for, I don't know, a few minutes, and eventually she asked me, because I was pretty fluent, she said, "Chris, how do you know you stutter?" And I said, "Well, I just changed a few words back there, like 3 of them. So yeah, I do have that issue." And she mentioned that when you're changing words, those are indeed moments of stuttering. So I knew I needed help. And before I met with her in person at her house, I was cynical. I read all these comments on Twitter, on Facebook about speech pathologists and what they do with those who stutter, with people who stutter. And again, some experiences have been negative. My initial session with her was not negative. It was positive. I was still cynical, however, right? She had asked me to do a couple things. We went through my history a little bit, and then she asked me to speak without changing words. My initial response to her, the first thing I thought of in my head was no. And then I told her, "No, I really don't want to do that. No, no, and no." And she said, "Chris, how am I supposed to help you then? I just want to see and hear how you speak." So I did it. It was emotional for me to do it because I had avoided those situations forever, right? I changed words, I tried to hide it. And even during my initial phone call with her, I hid it. Well, I spoke for a few minutes with her, and I didn't hide it. It was pretty raw for me to do that. I stuttered more than I thought. And that can be eye-opening when you try to avoid stuttering forever and then actually have to speak with almost no filter in a different way that we think, right? I just spoke and I stuttered more, and that bothered me. Near the end of the session, she mentioned, "You're pretty sensitive about stuttering. You're stuttering, so what I want you to do is to pseudo-stutter or fake stutter between our visits." So I started seeing her weekly, and my homework was to fake stutter 3 times a day, by the way, and write it down, keep track of it, where I was and what I did. So it was 3 times a day, and I had to fake stutter to desensitize myself to stuttering. Anytime I had felt like I was going to stutter, anytime I did stutter, I felt that blush come over me. I felt that rush of almost embarrassment, and as I mentioned before, maybe shame. So I felt it, and again, when she said, "I want you to fake stutter," my initial reaction was, I'm trying to avoid that feeling of being embarrassed or feeling shame about it. Anyway, she encouraged me to do the homework, and I said to her, "By the way, I've come to you to stop stuttering, and now you want me to stutter more. It doesn't make sense." But I remember a conversation I had with my wife driving home. I called her, and although I was incredibly cynical prior to meeting the speech therapist, I said to my wife on the way home, "I think she can help me. I really believe she can help me." So I went from cynic to believer. Thank you for watching today. From what I understand, I'm supposed to ask everybody to subscribe. And again, thank you. I hope these videos can be inspiration for others to seek help, or if you have a child who stutters, to seek help for that child as well. So thank you, and thanks for watching again.